So last Sunday, I was catching up on Barbra Streisand movies from her Friday, Summer Under the Stars, and I thought I had watched all of the ones that were on Watch TCM, and one of the films that we had shown I hadn't seen before, but I didn't see it on Watch TCM. Clearly, I didn't look hard enough or something, because lo and behold, today, this morning, when I was adding Virginia Mayo films to my watch list, there was a Barbra Streisand movie that I hadn't seen. And I'm like, wow. So I immediately watched it in case it was about to expire because it expired today. And technically it should have expired yesterday. I don't even know. I don't ask questions. I watched it. And this is Irvin Kershner's Up the Sandbox. And I'm so glad I watched it. It's such a weird movie. The film is based on a novel by Anne Roffey and has a screenplay by Paul Zindel, who has written lots of screenplays over his career, including oh god, I didn't get there fast enough. Mame, which is the remake of Anti-Mame, that's not very good. Runaway Train, and several other films later in the 80s. So I was very excited to finally see this movie. It is a very interesting exploration of second wave feminist ideas and how at this point in the 1972 we hadn't really figured out a way to marry the idea of women's lib and motherhood, and we're still sort of fighting that battle. But I feel like we're getting a little bit better, mostly because men are finally stepping up and going like, I'm here too. I shouldn't thank me when I do the dishes. I should just do the dishes. So that's good. Thank you, men, for taking 40 years. But in the film, Barbra Streisand plays a young woman who is married to a research professor husband who is working on a book, and he's as she later discovers, having an affair with his research assistant, or actually, they're both doctors. But the assistant assures the wife that it's just purely so they can work together better and has nothing to do with romance. And you're just like, oh my god. 70s is full of a lot of films like that, and late 60s, wife swap type stuff. And she has 2 children, and she's mostly, she loves her children, but she mostly feels neglected by her husband, feels that she would like to be able to do more with her life. She's not feeling well. She goes to the doctor, discovers, oh no, she's pregnant again. This causes her to have a whole bunch of strange fantasies about various aspects of her life that could be totally different. In one of her old professors comes up to her because of a paper she wrote and brings her to Latin American Revolution meeting. And the revolutionary guy thinks that she's the answer to all his problems. That segment hasn't aged very well due to some really bad transphobic issues. Nota bene. There's another one where she becomes, she joins a group of basically Black Panthers who are attempting to blow up the Statue of Liberty. There's another one where she goes on a safari in Africa and discovers a tribe of women who have found the secret to childbirth. She has another one where she is able to get rid of her pregnant belly and make her boobs larger so that she can stop having her husband hit on every woman with large boobs. So it tackles a bunch of different insecurities among women, and specifically among educated, but any women who at that point in their life have realized that the women in a lot of places have gotten the short end of the stick, and due to the women's liberation movement, finally realized that there should be more. There was another aspect of it I wanted to mention. Oh, and then finally she tackles the idea of should she have an abortion or not. It's her decision, and she's struggling with the thought that this is her decision. And does she want to deal with having another baby? And there's a lot of discussion about how overcrowded the world is becoming, all kinds of things. Is it okay to add, 3 kids to the world if they're all intelligent? And that's a whole nother discussion that could be had. Like, you could write an entire syllabus based on the themes of this movie and have a ton of reading to follow up on it. It's really fascinating. Needless to say, this movie did not do well in 1972. It was a little too weird, a little too, I think, feminist. I kind of, there were moments of it that I think could have been better if you'd had a woman somewhere in the creative process other than Barbra Streisand. I feel like Barbra Streisand did a lot to improve what the men did to this story, but you could still feel a lot of male gazy type stuff added to it that didn't necessarily need to be there. It's beautifully shot by Gordon Willis, Prince of Darkness. Some just absolutely gorgeously framed moments throughout this film. I don't think Barbra Streisand's hair has ever looked better. There are a couple of scenes where she gets to wear the neutrals because we all know she looks best in neutrals, but then they keep trying to put her in bright colors, and you're like, stop! Put Barbra Streisand in neutrals. She looks good in them. In all the movies she directed herself, she put herself in neutrals, and she looked really good, but her hair looks amazing in this film. So there is a story about the production that Kershner thought the script wasn't up to par and was afraid to tell Streisand, and then finally he did, and Streisand was like, well, yeah, let's fix it. So that's why I think Streisand, and the few things that were really great in this, I think were due to Streisand's being a producer without actually being a producer. She's great. So I enjoyed this film. I'm not sure if it's on DVD, but you can, I think you can rent it on Amazon. Hold on. I had that page open and then now it's gone. And there's a lot of supporting people just starting out in their careers. There's if you blink or you miss it, Stockard Channing and Ramsey. Always fun when you see people like that. Just and you're like, oh, but they're early in their career, so they're not really the fleshed out characters or anything. No, but you can get it on DVD, so you can find it on DVD. I think it's a fascinating entry into second wave feminist film theory. And I think Barbra Streisand is an amazing creator, and everyone should just let her do what she wants to do because she's great and so much smarter than she's given credit for. So this is Up the Sandbox from 1972. I really enjoyed it. It's an interesting film.